And Phil Harrison, good pal of yours.
Yeah, he's good mate of mine, Phil. Known him a long time and learnt a lot from him. But also Josh, I played in the England youth set-up with him and known him for a lot of years. We're the same age, we've had a lot of battles ourselves. You see Josh gone dry first frame, hit a great break up and down the spots, crunched them, balls everywhere. And no friends.
No, well, I was fortunate enough to commentate on Phil's last match against Carl Morris yesterday evening. Quite an animated affair with Carl playing. But Phil getting over the line there. And he looked pretty good coming the end of the match, did Phil?
Yeah, he felt, I was speaking to him, he felt quite a bit of pressure because Carl's Carl, as we all know. And all day he was sort of messing with Phil and saying, oh, you should be winning this, I can't win, I'm past it, you're still winning tournaments, all that kind of stuff, getting in his head and taking the pressure off himself and heaping it onto Phil. And Phil knew what he was up to, and it's one of them, you don't want it to affect you, you try and block it all out, but you can't help but still be aware of everything and know what Carl's up to. But yeah, he managed to get through, he was quite happy, he said. I did see early doors, he had a big fluke on a yellow. I think it was at 1-0 to Carl possibly, which even at that stage it could have been quite a big moment.
Yeah, he had the run of the balls, let's say, to Phil, but then again, you make your own luck in this game.
Yeah, that's very true. See a miss from Josh, it's quite tough, the balls aren't very nice anyway. Be an interesting match because Josh had a good win yesterday. I think it's fair to say for those in Josh's camp, he's still so young, but he's on the way back. He, by his own admission, he had a couple of years where he perhaps didn't apply himself as well as he could have done, and certainly as well as he used to when he was sort of 17, 18, 19. He was a real force, and everyone expected him to do great things, and he has achieved good things, but he's still so much more to offer.
Yeah, he said he had a good win. He beat Stevie Dempsey 7-5. More than a good win.
Yeah, that is a good win. And he was 3-0 down. I see Stevie had a massive fluke. One of the biggest flukes, even by my standards. He had a huge...
Do you have a lot of flukes?
A lot of people think I do, but I'm probably the most unluckiest player on the tour, but that's another discussion for another day. But yeah, I feared the worst because then Stevie had a first visit to go 3-0. I thought, when them sorts of things happen, it's easy to think it's not your day, but yeah, Josh done well to stick into that.
Well, just a quick update from table 1. John McAllister is leading Cole Bedford by 3 frames to 2, and on the other table, Gio Edgar is 1 up against Greg Batten.
Yeah, Gio had a good win yesterday, beat Carl Sutton. As we see, Josh played the loss of turn shot. He was trying to keep the black tied up with it, which has give Phil a chance, but it's... With this rule set we play now, it's one of them chances where you feel you've got to go, but you don't really want to. And for someone who plays the game like Phil does, who generally always plays the right shot and tries to play percentages and stuff, it's kind of going against his makeup, if you like. I didn't realise this yellow went up the rail, which would make the finish a lot easier than we thought at first glance.
Can he dink this in with a, say, top left hand side, Dom, and just nudge that yellow away from that red and land on the other in the middle?
Yeah, do you know what though? I think he thinks this yellow goes into the top left corner as we look, so he wanted it to be straight, and it's more or less free drop-ins. He might be able to
he could have gone through that gap, couldn't he?
Yeah, he might be able to just dab this in and kill the white. You see how he's played it so slow, and that's a very good shot because this yellow is effectively the 8 ball, so he's just got to control it. Because
well, if he can get the cue ball to bite into the cushion and just come back and bounce into that red ball he holds on the yellow.
Yeah, but it's very easy with these reactive conditions. You just flick a touch aside on this and it can make you look silly, but you expect him to make it. And you see there he's actually
Played it too well.
Yeah, he's just got to use the red here. He might just float past it and leave a slightly trickier 8-ball.
I'm not sure about rolling into it. The cue ball's going to hit that red ball, sort of half ball. It should come past.
Yeah, he might just have to put a trace aside, and it's just a spin off the red. So when you see how it's just widened off, which
They played it nicely.
it's very strange. These sorts of 8-balls, first frame, they're always a lot harder. A couple of frames in, at this level, it's a formality, but just that first frame is always. Imagine you've had a few battles with him down the years.
I've had a few games with Phil. Yep, it's not a massive amount, to be fair. Usually finished up at the wrong end of a sort of 7-3 or a 7-4 sort of match with him.
Yeah.
But like you say, he is a gentleman. He's always got a smile on his face, isn't he? He's not one of these sort of walking around moping about the place. If he's had a bit of a bad game, he just sort of dusts it off and gets on with the next one, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's. I suppose it's probably easier when you've been in amongst the game for as long as he has. That probably after a certain amount of time it gets a bit easier, but
Either that, it will drive you completely insane, Dom.
yeah, probably the latter. You see, I think he's just a shade short of the cue ball. He wants to play this yellow off the cushion off the red to open that pocket up. If he was a bit closer to the left centre as we look, I think he might have been able to control it a bit better with where the red goes, because I think the red might clip the yellow on the way out. He might play this at pace and hope he can. You see, it looks a lot worse than it was, but he was worried about what the red was going to do. And this is it's quite tricky at first glance, but these are the sort of finishes Josh seems to sort of thrive when the balls look quite tricky. It's almost as if he thinks the harder the balls are, the better the finish is going to be for him, and he tends to get a lot of tricky finishes. But he has got to do quite a bit with the cue ball. He's got to get over to this side cushion at some point, and then he has to get back down the bottom of the table for the red, which I imagine he'll leave till last, because you don't want to be going back and forward. He's recently been using a new cue as well, Josh, for about perhaps 3 months, 2-3 months.
What was wrong with his old one?
I think the tip was quite small. He had a really small tip on there, and I think the way the conditions are going, there's a lot of players that are moving up to slightly bigger tips. Of course, Phil's always been known for playing with a larger tip than most for a lot of years.
But the way the tables are manufactured now and the speed of the cloth, you don't have to do that much with the cue ball that you used to have to. I mean, I used to play with a 7mm.
Yeah,
I've gone up, I've started playing again now on sort of 8.2.
Yeah. It's very easy, particularly as I mentioned the shot Phil played first frame where he's jacking up. If you've got a really small tip, it's so much easier just to put a trace aside on, and that can just ruin everything. I don't know if that red must go underneath the yellow in this on the bottom cushion as we look. I think the natural shot here in some ways is you'd spin the red in at the top with left hand side to get onto the rail, but that's a lot harder on these conditions, so you might see him stun around off 2 or 3 cushions, and there you see, don't want to land straight, he wants an angle, and that looks pretty good.
Yeah, he's got it.
And the beauty of this shot is he'll open up that same pocket where this pocket he pots the red in will be where the 8-ball goes. And you see him play it off the cushion, off the yellow, and screw just below the left centre pocket. It went quite flush, really. He's played it really well.
Well, I don't think you can play that shot any better, Dom.
No, it's about as good as you could play it.
Dink this up the rail just with a little bit of sort of drag it with the left hand side just to bring the cue ball off the rail, leave himself a straight black into the corner, eh?
Yeah, and it won't mean much to most, but he's left-handed, so oh, Josh, I was about to say these yellows won't be an issue queuing over.
Caught the rail a good ways up there.
Yeah, I thought if you're being ultra critical there, I'd say he's perhaps played it a bit harder than he needed to, especially on these conditions. You can just float them down and let the table do the work, but he wanted to put a positive stroke on it.
Yeah, it was a bit pacey, that's for sure. Now, what can Harrison do here? Could he play the cut into the top right corner, send a cue ball into rail with a bit of right hand side and play the skill shot, knocking Josh's red in?
Possibly. I think he's looking at a delicate loss of turn. He'll just drag the yellow in. He's got to be careful because there is a gap between these two yellows, and I think he's left it. I think he's left it.
That's what I didn't like about that shot. And
See,
judging by Phil's reaction there, well, he can definitely get through and hit it. And if he can hit it, even if he can't put it straight in that corner, he'll have a double.
yeah, the thing is, with Phil's reaction, as you'd know as well as many, you can't take that as...
No. The head shakes normally means he's perfect when he's he's at the table.
But so if Phil was playing that shot, I'd rather have played it a bit more pace because your cue ball would come in the line of the other yellow. So he didn't quite leave it, so... Oh, he's... Cool, I thought he was going to have a roll there.
Well, Phil did get away with one there, with a loose shot. No more mistakes now, though, for Harrison.
So is Phil going to try and sort of banana the cue ball a touch into this yellow on the rail? And be on the one over the middle? Yeah, he's played it nicely. Really
That's
good
a brilliant
shot.
Really good shot. Lovely control. And now this is pretty simple now for Harrison.
And for those watching at home, that shot wouldn't have seemed that impressive, but that shows a lot of experience with different conditions and being aware of how the table is going to react.
Yeah, playing it with side and just coming into the rail before the yellow as well, so make sure the cue ball comes off and leaves it in
gives
prime
such a
position.
big margin as well.
Just makes everything so much easier. I mean, he just drops this in now. That's where he wants to be. He'll have a choice whether to roll through with the yellow into the middle, just stun out and play the black in the corner, depending where he leaves himself here.
I've got a question for you, Tony.
Okie dokie, I'm ready.
Do you think it's fair to say that, aside from like the so-called proper players, do you think Phil doesn't always get the credit for his level that he deserves?
I'm not sure about that. I think everybody knows how good a player Harrison is.
I think the players
he's
do.
won a world championship, don't forget.
I think sometimes because he's always so, like, see, he played one good shot there and it made it dot to dot.
It didn't look like it did anything.
Yeah, that's right. That's a fantastic break. That's as good as you can break.
Just a yellow and a red at the left hand
He's actually
side
a
of the
little bit
table.
unlucky there, and you can see just slightly in his body language. How well has he hit there? I mean, it's one of them. As well as you break, sometimes it can be worse to make 3 or 4 balls.
So you see somebody put a little pop cut break.
Yeah.
They just one ball goes in and then they're all there. They're all very close to each other and it's a dot to dot finish.
Yeah, I think the less said about the cut break is probably better.
Well, I did make this mistake with Chris as well yesterday and set him
Big
off
fan
again.
of this cut break, Chris, isn't he? But he has used it. I've seen him use it. I remember hearing him in commentary one time. He said, "I'd never use the cut break." A couple of events later, he's there cut breaking on telly.
Really? I wish I'd seen that.
Yeah, but that's a great pot from Josh as well. He's got quite a bit of work.
Well, all his eggs are in one basket, Dom. When that's with the basket is at the bottom left-hand side of the table, with red tucked behind yellow.
Yeah, and the big problem for him is he's going to have to play a shot to break it out.
But it could be off his last ball to do it, and he's going to have to land on it.
Exactly. But that ball in the middle of the table as we look, it's kind of ideal. It'll be a bit of a touch shot where he's just got to pop the yellow off the red and not...
Well, he's looking at leaving the angle onto the red into the centre to come into this left-hand side rail.
Off the rail and hit the yellow.
But then he could end up stuck to the red playing it that way.
That's why the pace will be absolutely key. Because it's... I mean, this is difficult, and he's got to catch the yellow perfectly, because if he catches just off flush on the yellow, he could run in behind the red.
Not only that, if he comes in the other side, he comes off the cushion and bumps the red at the bottom of the table next to the yellow that's on the bottom rail.
Yeah, this is tough. Do you know, he might have been better, looking where the yellow and red is, trying to play some sort of a shot where he plays to try and make the plant off the rail. And he has gone at pace. Oh, that's unlucky.
But there was a catalogue of things that could go wrong with that shot, though, Dom.
Yeah, that was one of them where he could catch the inside of the red and.
Have another look at it. Watch the cue ball. Goes into the cushion. Flicks yellow and red.
Yeah,
It's a nice little trick shot if you could bottle that.
Yeah, he's played it at a pace where he wants to sort of tell himself that good things can happen, but I mean, to go in off you can feel a little bit hard done by.
Well, I just wondered then. I thought the place Harrison needs to be is in between these two yellows at the bottom, and I thought, why has he not put the cue ball there now?
Yeah, I was going to say the same. I was a bit surprised.
He's just suddenly hang on a minute, I can put the cue ball down there. Just pots this, leaves himself an angle, stuns at the table.
Yeah,
Thank you very
he'll
much.
want to leave himself flush on the bottom rail, so it's yeah, there you go. You can stun up now.
That was what you call a late spot there by Harrison.
Yeah, it's unlike him as well. It's a bit. I mean, he's well renowned for going the right way and his patterns and things like that. That was pretty poor from.
Well, it was kind of. He thought it was an in off the break. He had to play from behind the bolt line.
Yeah, he's getting old.
For a split second. Well, aren't we all? Well, no, not you. Well, this is the perfect start that Harrison would have wanted to this match. Win the opening 3 frames. And the alarm bells will start to be ringing now for Josh Kane.
Yeah, and it's more of a. I mean, it'll be difficult enough for Josh from here anyway, but it's like the mental battle as well, because he has had a couple of things go against him, and he missed the red. He's gonna have to try and forget about that and keep in a positive mindset. Oh, Phil, that's careless, that is.
I did go way too far there with that. I mean, that was just a simple just dropping.
Yeah.
Still fancy him knocked
Yeah,
in.
he still should be fine, but it's one of them. He should never have been playing it. If he does miss it, them sorts of things change matches.
Never ever looked like touching the sides though, did it?
No, yeah.
No, taking away. I just think it makes, yeah, like you say, needle. I prefer it, gives it an edge to the match.
Yeah, exactly that, an edge to the match. As long as once it's done, you can realise what's gone on and just shake hands and look at these reds right away. First shot, he can get top of the table if he wants.
Well, we'll have another look at the breaking. Well, you can be pleased with that.
Yeah,
Nice easy starter.
Nice layout for Phil. Just get these first 2 shots navigating correctly. You don't want to be straight, and I think he is. He's just okay. You can just punch through these yellows.
Of course, this match is a race to 7. 50 minutes match clock.
Bit of an interesting one there for Phil. You see, he wanted to land closer to the rail. He's one of the players. A lot of players would have wanted to be kind of bulk line or just past it to be cutting it thin and coming out.
Yeah.
But he always loves to be playing it from the other side, like low on it and punching out.
Just a quick score update on table 1, the main table. John McAllister is now leading Cole Bedford by 5 frames to 2. And on the other stream table, Gio Edgar 4-1 up against Greg Batten. The next match that will be coming on this table, once we get to the completion of Josh Kane and Phil Harrison, will be Ryan Marcus against Sean Story. That'll be a good game.
Yeah, Ryan had a good win yesterday against my old pal Luke Gilbert.
I was with comms with Luke yesterday.
He probably won't want me to let you know what mistake he made, but he thought he'd fouled at 2-2, so he picked up the cue ball and gave it to Ryan, said ball in hand mate, I fouled, and Ryan looked a bit confused and had a bit of a chat, and then they realised that Luke didn't foul, and the ruling is actually a loss of frame there, and then Ryan's had 2 off the break, so he's gone from 2-2
I didn't know about that.
to 5-2.
Oh, that's incredible.
And I see Sean Story, he was on the table beside me, he was 5-2 down, and he's obviously managed to win, so he'll be feeling good about himself, so promises to be a good match, that does.
Yep, 2 very, very good players. Well, we're down at the getting towards the business end of this event as well, and you're not going to see any band players, that's for sure, but yeah, some classy performers still to come. Another big match on later in the day. Jimmy Croxford against Tom Cousins.
That'll be interesting. Jimmy's on one leg, I believe. I think he's.
I saw him with a big foot, sort of. Well, it's not a bandage, but one of those big wraparound sort of cushiony things. So he's obviously done some damage somewhere. I think somebody could have had his foot amputated. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think got some virus in there. That's what I caught the tail end of it, sort of thing.
Imagine the cue might hop a bit. God, he's drained that. What a fantastic break.
We can get a straighter cue ball coming back either.
That's absolutely perfect. I remember he played. I can't remember where it was. He was at some tournament. He I can't remember if he won or lost the match, but he kept going dry, and he looked over to me exasperated because he was hitting them like that. Perfect cue ball. The balls were running around the table, and he just couldn't get a ball in. And I said to him after, I said, I don't know how you don't pot 10 balls every break, because it was some of the best breaking I've ever seen.
Extension, please.
Yeah, I think the break needs to be your friend in this sport, certainly.
Yeah, especially in this day and age, the way the conditions are and the way the players play and things like that. And the rule set, the break's bigger than it's ever been, I think. Oh, he knows he's missed that. He might have a little smile on his face. He shook his head there. Pocket's slightly on the generous side. Slightly is being generous in itself. That for the red in the middle there, Josh. I wasn't sure if he'd have played it with the other side and just bumped it out a touch into the open and guaranteed himself down the line.
Another player that was bemoaning the break earlier, I saw him outside, was Jack Whelan. He went down 7-5 to Lewis Roberts, and he said he had about 3 or 4 dry breaks, and he said he's hitting the ball really well, just could not get to the table to do anything. And
that's quite an interesting one, that, for Lewis, really, because he plays out of the court in Peterborough, where myself, Luke, John Rowe and a few others play.
Well, I had this discussion with Luke actually yesterday about the ringers team that you probably put together as well and play locally.
Yeah, we actually we don't really play much league stuff anymore, but we actually, me and Luke, we were more Cambridge based, and we had sort of our interleague teams, which we still play, is me, Luke and Phil. That's our kind of our free frame playoff, so if it goes that far we always think we're doing okay. But we had a good team from Cambridge. Do you know Simon Rivers?
I've heard of him.
He was ex-pro and England international for a couple of years. He's in our team, and we've got a few good local players like Jamie Clements, who's on the Challenger event, and we've got a very strong team, so we always go there fancying our chances.
So it's pretty much a hotbed for pool talent then?
Yeah, in some ways, yeah, but we kind of get stitched up by Josh and his mates, because I'm using that tongue in cheek, but the Leicester team that are based in Northampton, Coventry, Leicester and various other places around the UK, they seem to get their team together somehow, and they must all play together in the Dog and Duck on a Tuesday night, but yeah. I can't say I'm in there to witness that myself.
Well, great last red there from Josh Kane, and at last we think he's going to arrive in this match. And in goes the black ball, and he'll be a lot happier man now.
Just got to stay positive and keep believing, and just be ready when his moments come along, and hopefully for his sake he can take them.
Well, a decent split from Harrison. He's got a ball. There's a little bit of a puzzle there, Dom.
It is, and it's kind of, the first shot looks reasonably difficult, because I think if he can get a ball, the red that we can see on the break line, he'll be able to play that off the cushion, off the yellow, which will open them 2 reds up at the top of the table.
I think he's looking at yellows.
Can he get through the 2 reds?
I think he can.
Well, in that case, you've got a better commentator's eye than me. You've been doing it longer than me.
What I did was actually when we saw the replay of the break, when the balls quickly stopped, it had an overhead view, and so he could get through.
So you've got an edge.
You're going to say I was cheated, but I didn't. I just was more alert.
Yeah, well, I was trying to say to Josh there's a little bit of work to do, and he might have a chance, but now that goes, if Phil gets these next 2 shots right, which would be yellow to middle, yellow in the corner, to get out.
He's just getting the pace right, coming down the table off the one that's near the rail at the top.
Yeah, I think he'll want to leave an angle where he sort of stuns out just over the blue spot to play that in the middle. And he's pretty straight. Is he going to look to screw? Oh, okay.
He's going to have to come below the red that's in the middle of the table. So that's where he wants to be, or anywhere around here, because he's got the choice of 2 balls.
Yeah, it's good thinking. He can land, but depending how well he hits it or how bad he hits it, he can land on all 3 yellows here. So he's got his.
Well, I wouldn't recommend playing to land on the top one first, because
No, it's just one of them. If he hits it really bad or whatever, he will have the option of that. But obviously, he wants to be below the red, which he's not. Oh, he is. How quick is his table?
Yeah, pretty fast.
But he's going to be running into the 8 ball, which he didn't want to do.
We're going to see a famous shake of the head any time soon from Phil.
Yeah, I think he's got to play the one, unless he can screw back to the rail now off this one.
Well, he's got to get the position right here.
Yeah, as long as he hits the rail, I think he's fine, because he comes into the line of it and he sees.
Played that well.
Yeah, he's going to have to play half a shot to get on the 8 ball, because I think he's just bumping the black here, so he's going to be off angle on the yellow to middle, unless he can just skim it and run through it a touch.
Well, he'll be going up and off the top rail now.
Yeah, and
Bit left hand side to make sure he doesn't slide behind the red.
you see, the only reason he's taking a bit more time here is because it is brand new conditions and he is aware of it. Sometimes this shot is a lot harder.
It can skid, but
yeah,
as long he's going to put left hand side on, so as long as it bites off this top rail, he's okay. He's digging down a bit.
is he?
Oh,
He's played it 2 rails. That's.
He wasn't trusting the side taking it off that top rail, was he?
Yeah, and by playing it off the side rail with the.
Well, he's guaranteeing not snooking himself.
He's took that red out of play, hasn't he? He's eliminated that completely, but it's slightly tricky queuing.
Yep, longer pot, made to look easy.
Yeah, I'd be delighted with that one.
Well, there you go.
For those of you at home, just watch how good Josh is hitting this break, up and down the spots. Balls will go everywhere. This is perfect. This is how you break. Sorry, Josh, I've cursed you. Lo and behold, he's not flushed the top ball because I've given him the build up, but he has made a wall. He just seemed to deliver a quicker stroke there on the break. He just sort of kind of stabbed at it a bit rather than the timing wasn't quite the same as the others.
There's a little cluster of balls at the bottom left hand side of the table, which is going to prove key to whoever is going to attack this frame. So whether he takes the reds, which I think he probably will.
Yes.
He's getting into that bunch of balls. He might even opt for the yellows, but no, he's going for the reds, just purely because the yellows are covering the black and red.
Yeah, it's also worth mentioning when you're playing someone like Phil, when the balls are scrappy, you're sort of thinking, I don't really want to get into a game of ball with Phil because there's not many that's going to match him or outdo him in the tactical department and knowledge department. So sometimes you get difficult layouts like this. You feel like you've got to have a go regardless.
Well, he's going to go in here, and I mean, I would go here nice with quite a bit of pace because you need those yellows all out the way.
Yeah, and
the only danger is the red popping out the middle if you play it too hard.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right, but I think he should be okay as long as he hits the 8 ball quite thick, which
that's a bit too soft for my liking. I think throw the arm into that lot.
Yeah, I think he could have perhaps played it a bit more pace, but that Josh will be thinking now that kind of sums how it's gone for him. He's had to go into them and he's not landed on a ball and he's tied a red up. And
it's the conviction of the shot, to be fair. Like you said, he's trailing 5-1 and maybe his arm's not as going in as hard as it would.
Yeah, I dare say if he was 5-1 up, he would have played that with a bit more confidence, perhaps. But I still think he has been a bit unlucky here. And
well, he's not left
played a good
anything to
shot.
Phil.
Yeah, he's played a good shot there. I wonder does that yellow go to the top left as we look that he's closest to? It's difficult, but he could play it as a pot come safety.
It's a bit thin. You have to be taking the paint off
To
that yellow to cut it.
You could pot the red in this bottom right as we look, maybe. But that's a huge pocket in that top right, so there's no real hiding place here for Phil, I don't think. Is he cutting it in off the red?
I think it's going to have to. Anything up there, even if it just stops up there and blocks something.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad effort, but he's put it in there enough for it to be a distraction. But
well, he can play that red. I mean, he'll probably pop the one in over the bag and then play that red down all the way down the bottom right of the table because he's got a big pocket
I
down
think
there.
you might see him play it now. Yeah, don't expect him to miss this anywhere rail side of the pocket, and he's flushed it anyway.
Great part.
How often do you see that? You got a big pocket, and because it's a big pocket, you just pot it clean, don't you?
Yeah, no red ball there. You probably miss it by about 2 for the well, I would.
That well, control it nicely. So Josh is hanging on in there. He's not got to worry too much about the clock because there's plenty of time left. And of course, when it gets down to 10 minutes, is it, with 15-second shot clock? Now then, Josh, this is your moment. Does that red pass the yellow?
Well, if it does, then you see a little bit of dismay there from Phil Harrison as he looks to the heavens for some celestial help.
Oh, I don't think it goes. Yellows are not bad though. He's having a good look. He's going to play the yellow, I think, and he's a real touch shot. He's got to flick the cue ball in between these two reds to the right. You see, he's just...
Oh, has he got away? I mean, he's nearly blocked the... He has blocked the yellow, surely. Unless it's that big a pocket, he could play it dead slow up there and just go off the two knuckles and dribble it in.
Yeah, I think he's I don't like to be that critical, but I have to say it's a touch careless from Josh. To be fair, he was stretching, leaning over. Perhaps he could... I don't know if the clock played a part. Could he have used his extension? But again, with these conditions, that's a lot harder shot than people would have thought at home. He's going to run into it now, which... He's not guaranteed good shape on a ball. He'd like to hit the yellow half ball into the rail, into the red. But don't take your eye off the pot. He's played a good shot there. Is he on a ball?
He's missed.
Oh, he missed.
The yellow didn't go in.
You can tell I don't do this for a living.
To be fair, I thought it potted because we had the side angle there on the camera. I thought he potted it, but
the worst bit is you pointed at it as well to say that he missed, and I still didn't realise. Yes, it was.
It all depends if the red should go past that yellow at the top. As Phil just uses extension now.
I think you'll see Phil drop behind. He'll pot this red and drop behind. No, he's going low on the cue ball, so ignore what I'm saying. It must go. It has to go.
Yeah, he wouldn't be playing this shot else. So this is the big chance now for Harrison to get onto the hill. Harrison's already looked. His last red will be the one that's nearest to the right-hand middle pocket, and that'll be to get himself onto the black. So there's his link. So we'll pot these two reds at the bottom of the table and go up and play the three reds.
Yeah, it's going to be these two in the corner.
The three at the top, and then the one that's nearest the right-hand middle is his last ball.
I think next ball he'd like to play the one on the bulk line, and the one in the middle, then the one past that yellow, and then drop the one over the right centre.
I try and get up on the top rail now off this.
Top rail now?
Yeah, right up there, because anywhere around there you're going to land.
I think he'll go off one cushion in between them. Yeah, he's played my way. The thing is now, that red actually becomes awkward because he's not... He'd like to have been straight in on this one on the rail. He might actually spin into the yellow ball here just to hold the line on the red to the middle, because that red in the very middle of the table becomes a little bit of a pain. Yeah,
it's made it trickier.
I think it must have went past and he was playing for it now, but yeah, he's actually dug himself a little bit of a hole here. I still expect him to get out, but he's made it. It's trickier than it needed to be. Rail. Yeah, well, yeah, you're probably right.
There's a case for it now, isn't there?
He's now got to play a shot, whereas before it was... And he's got the clock against him as well. He could miss this. Played that well.
He did play it well. I had doubts of when we saw the clock at 4 seconds and he still hadn't got quite down on his cue.
Yeah, it just shows. I know he's renowned for being a bit slower, Phil.
Well, I don't think he's slow. He's trying to make sure and stuff, but he's got a big dustbin lid he can land in here to get onto this red. Anywhere in the centre of the table. That will do him. He'll just drop this in dead weight and have a straight black into this bottom left-hand corner, and this to go on the hill and lead 6-2 against Josh Kane. Anyway, back for Josh.
Needs a lot to go his way. It's very difficult now, especially the way he has made a couple of mistakes, and like at this point, the way it's gone, you can't see Phil rolling over. It's not like he's been put under pressure particularly.
No, not a lot of things have gone Josh's way today, that's for
No,
sure.
he'll be a little bit frustrated because I'm going to say he's going to flush this break. I cursed him last time, but he's going to hit a good one here. And it's pretty good. I think these yellows are okay.
Yeah, maybe tricky the yellow and red together at the right hand side of the table. I can tell you Greg Batten's pulled one back against Gio Edgar. It's now 5-4 to Edgar.
Ooh, a bit surprised he played. I suppose he didn't have a lot on because of where the cue ball was. He had to play the cannon.
We've got some big games later on in the last 16. Declan Brennan, John Rowe.
John Rose had a good start. I know.
Yes. What about Neil Raybone, Jordan Shepherd?
Cool, that'd be good. Bit of a clash of
Neil,
styles.
Neil was in sparkling form early today against Dylan Leary. David McNamara, Sean Chipperfield. We've also got Arfan Dad against Rob Warren. And John McAllister still awaiting an opponent.
Who has the winner of this match got?
I shall have a look for you. I'll let you have a look as I just look
The
at
winner
what's
has got
open.
John McAllister.
And there we are. McAllister, a tough nut to crack.
Yeah, he's a good player, John. He probably by perhaps his own standards, not hit the heights that he would want to yet, but there was a couple of years ago he had a year or two where he just seemed to be mopping up everywhere, winning everything, and all the one-day events he was winning them, and he's not quite been firing like that, but he has won the pairs this week, so he'll be full of confidence. And
Yeah, I caught a bit of that.
I wonder how Josh feels about that. He was teammates
With
with
Connor, wasn't he?
Yeah, Josh and John were together for a couple of years, and then I don't know. I think Josh might have been working at the time. He couldn't make it or something, and Connor replaced him, and they went on to win it. But no, they're all good friends, them guys. So I'm sure there's a lot of positive vibes.
One on a 6 red as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, which John had another 6 red last night, didn't he? There's a bit of drama in his one.
Yeah.
We had it on back at the room. It was playing, and I saw John's time, and I think I just went to get some food or something, and someone come back later and said, "Yeah, John won," and I couldn't believe it because I think John set about 30 odd seconds, but he'd missed the ball in amongst that as well, and you sort of think 30 seconds isn't enough.
Myself and Dylan Leary commentating on Phil Parkin and Lee Anderson. They had a 6 red shootout, and it was Anderson put up a 23
It
seconds.
was you and Luke, wasn't it, commentating on that game?
Quite possible. Yes, it was.
Yeah, because he told me.
Of that many, they all look the same, even though there's like 30 years apart between Luke and Dylan.
But yeah, it's these 6 reds are carnage, aren't they? Is Phil taking the red on down the line and pop the yellow in the same shot?
Oh, what a shot there! And I thought it was just going to wriggle and stay out for a second, which would have been lost of turn. But
how clever a shot was it? Because even if he missed the red, look at the cue ball.
Yeah.
He's left Josh nothing.
And now the opportunity is there for Phil Harrison to go on and win this match.
And you saw on the cue ball, if you watched the cue ball, it spun a bit. He played a bit aside to Just help push that yellow in and get the cue there.
He's missed it, surely.
Oh my.
How's that gone in?
He's looking at Josh now, and imagine Josh would be thinking, how on earth?
And he's going to get this done before it goes to 15 seconds of shot.
So
Just.
it is so frustrating for us as players. So frustrating that these balls go in, because they just shouldn't. They just should not go in, and it's so annoying. All the players get fuming with it. I think they need to stop polishing the balls and play with slightly thicker cloths. There's such a obsession with ultra fine, ultra quick cloths these days, and I just don't get it.
Well, Edgar and Batten's now gone 5 each. That is on the other stream table, one of the other stream tables, table 3. But this for Harrison now, 1 red and the black away from chalking up his place into the last 16. It's going to be cutting this into the bottom corner.
As to say, it's been a pretty solid performance from Phil. Josh made a couple of errors, he'll be disappointed, but
Well, and it goes. Harrison wins the match 7-2.